Hello and welcome back to Behind the Curve Gaming. You joined me early on a Friday morning, and apologies I've not been through hair and makeup yet. I'm feeling quite dilapidated. It feels like a fitting word this morning for how I feel, but a decent shower will sort me out, no doubt. Now you join me mid change around in the games room. So it was only about 5 or 6 months ago where we had this games room first actually put together in any sort of proper arrangement with a good deal of effort behind it. Now, where are we? We are in March 2025, and there's just been a few like whispers in my ear here and there, and they've just been gaining traction. Some seeds planted, as a bit of inception, if you will. But obviously, I was having a little bit of a moan about the fact that my PC was kind of like in that corner in the kitchen. Now, it was very useful, when looking after the kids or whatever, or once I put them to bed, or if I've got a spare half hour, I could just jump on the PC, play some games, whatever. But it was an eyesore, and it was just getting a little bit worse over time. But my wife said ages ago, you could just fit a desk in the gaming shed probably if you just tried. And I just hadn't really ever thought about it. We've had two desks in here before, two of your very standard kind of like IKEA table / desk things that are like 1.2 meters. We had two of those in here, and they pretty much dominated the room, which is where I was like, no, that's just too much, right? It's too much. As well as the fact that obviously when I'm recording in there as well, the audio's never going to be particularly great. And I've always got the noise going on in the house. So it's kind of like an earworm, I guess. Just kind of, I was like, you know what then? Do I start looking at having a rearrange? Do I start looking at getting myself a desk? What kind of sizes desks are common? Can I get something that's a little bit smaller, but it's still going to be functional for me? Obviously, I've been kind of operating at that PC in a relatively small space, to be honest. But I've had quite a lot of depth, which has been nice to get my wrists on the table when I'm, gaming and stuff. So I've had that bit of support. So that's going to be the drawback of having a smaller desk. Is they're much shallower. It's not so much the width, because I've been operating within, I think about 80 centimeters, just under a meter, because that's roughly how wide my desk mat is, and everything is kind of like in that zone. So I've been looking at that last week. It's just been going in my head, and I don't know about anyone else, but once something's kind of like churning, once that hamster wheel's going around in your head, there's not a lot else that I'm thinking about. It's like, I need to get on top of that. I need to work out what I'm doing, but at the same time, I can't quite visualize what's going to happen, So you got to visualize that win. And until I get this all up together, which is hopefully going to be in the next couple of days now, I don't know if I've made the right choice. Honestly, I'm not sure. I don't know if I've messed this up. In theory, we're not going to lose anything from this room, but we're going to gain a desk. Surely it's going to look crammed and horrific and, oh, God knows what. Honestly, it's going to be tough. And I did want to bring you along for the entire journey, but time constraints has just been on me. The time that I've had earlier in the week when I've just been like, right, I need to get this done. I've not had that bit of extra time to set up a camera or something and get the lighting and all that kind of business. It's just been like, right, get it done, get that ready for that thing arriving, make that space, get things up in the loft, get things gone. And I had to make the decision. It's going on in my head a little bit, actually. You don't have to display all of your collection, right? You can display whatever you want. If you've got the space to display all of it and that brings you joy, then do it, it's fine. But certain aspects of my collection weren't necessarily bringing me joy. I was just like, nah, whatever. Even if I grew up on that platform, for example, it's like it wasn't quite the right age for me to have that huge hit nostalgia for it. So I have chosen to just put in the loft, not get rid of, because I don't think there's much value behind either of the collections. I've chosen to put the PS2, the Wii, and the Wii U, as well as a tiny bit of GameCube, all up in the loft. So I took all of that off the shelves, which was about 3 full rows, I think. 3 rows, as well as just a few duplicates here and there. For example, again, I don't think it's in shot, but the 361, that was, I'd put games behind that, just a couple flat, so that the games sat proud. They sat at the front, but that's the only bookcase I've done that for. I've decided to go back on that now, take out those ones at the back, all those empty cases or duplicates or whatever, put the games to the back. I know it's not everyone's preference, but at least now it's going to be the same across the bookcases. My PS2 collection wasn't huge, it was one row essentially. That was slimmed down. There are some random fodder in the loft. And again, that is a system that I was playing, when I was like 10, 12, 13 years old. As a young teenager, I was playing Battlefront and Gran Turismo and Time Splitters, Need for Speed, Underground, all that kind of cool stuff. And that's hugely nostalgic for me, whatever. But I feel like I was just a little bit too young. It's the next generation. It's the 360 era, which has the bigger nostalgia hit for me. My first taste of online gaming, Modern Warfare, Black Ops, and all that kind of stuff. Forza. There's all these games that I was playing and having a great time with. Halo. With the PS2, I played some great games, but it's kind of like all on my own. I didn't have anyone to share it with at that time. Whereas when it came around to the 360 and the PS3, all that kind of stuff, I was a teenager. There's lots of other people into gaming, so you have people to share it with a little bit more. I've got a load of cable tidy stuff coming today, so at the moment it's just plugged in. My PC does work, and then I've got a space ready for my wife's desk. The reclining chair probably will end up in the house. That might be the one thing that does leave the room, and I think she's okay with it being in the front room. So hopefully you'll join me in the next clip where things are nearing completion, shall we say. I'm very much looking forward to it, but I still don't know if I've messed up. A lot of change. Fingers crossed, right? Hello and welcome back to, I guess, part 2 of our Games Room update. First time in 2025. And yeah, it's been a hell of a lot of work this week. A lot has gone into this in terms of trying to order things and trying to work things out in my head, how it will go together, a very small space. As with, I guess, anyone that's kind of got a games collection or a games room or whatever it might be, when you have that collection you'd like to display it, it's always about what can I fit and where will it fit. And then if you try and fiddle about with it or try and fit something else in there as well, it can be so difficult trying to figure out in your head. I'm someone that if I haven't got it in front of me, I can't really visualize it very well. I'm really struggling, and my mind just going overdrive, saying you need to get this delivered and all put together, and then you can put that there, and if it all fits, measure it, and then you can get the next bit done, and then you can get the next bit done. But it's all come together exactly how I was expecting it to, exactly how I wanted it to. So I'll do a quick sweep in a second. By no means is the actual placing of all the games and the items and everything all done yet. I've had to take things off the shelf. They've all got disordered. That was alphabetical for my games, at least. It's just been put back for now. I need to still put things like my hooks up for the controllers again. There's a few finishing touches here and there, but for the most part it's the layout of the room, what we're actually going to be working with for hopefully the rest of the year, right? Apart from maybe a small change or whatever, the rest of the year this should be pretty much it now. We just need to, small improvements. We've had that change. Revision 1, if you will. If we had our first games room at the start of this channel earlier or late last year, we're now on revision 1 of that games room. And in summary, what I've done is essentially added my own desk, which I didn't have before, and that's pretty much it. We have taken out the recliner, what was it? Was it a Homcom fabric recliner and footstool? Still really comfortable. Not gotten rid of it, and I think it does go in the front room okay. I'll get my phone and I'll show you. So as we step into the room, we are greeted by the wife's creative and later, soon to be kind of later on this year, studying and working space. Now she's got a much larger kind of L-shaped desk. This is one of those things I was like, right, I'll sort my desk out, now I need to measure what I've got left. And as you can see, it fits in perfectly. Fantastic. So it's pretty cool these days. You get little extension leads built into the desk. That's cool. She's got a PC case down there, still in the cellophane, just awaiting parts. It's going to take a little bit longer now that we've done this. She's got all her things set up all nice and pretty.
She wanted me to include it. Still got shelves kind of like underutilized at the moment, but we'll get there. You don't need to just fill it for the sake of it. Got a Tay Swift calendar, yada yada yada. I need to hang that up with a nail. And to be fair, I've not put on all of the RGB lights. I should do that. There we go. Got a nice little bit of RGB underlighting. This is like baby's first RGB. Apologies. We've been making do with like old IKEA desks and furniture and bits and pieces for like 10 years now. We finally got some random RGB bits, so making the most of it. Okay, it's got a nice light. It's got a little placard and stuff. It's got some lights. I got a cool chair. I was thinking, oh, I'll just be able to kind of like share her chair kind of thing and just swap for now, but it don't really fit me very well. It fits her. She's obviously a bit more petite than I am. But yeah, was it a Neo Geo pink, typical kind of racing style desk chair? It's got a little footrest. It's all right. Unfortunately, these things just aren't cheap anymore. But yeah, you can tell it's definitely on the more budget end, putting it together. But it's going to do. It's absolutely fine. You've got your nice little, cushions and whatnot. I think that was still 80 quid or something off the top of my head. Desk chairs and things just aren't cheap these days, unfortunately. But yeah, she's very happy. She's got a pink and white matching this, that, and the other. So we're happy with that. Excellent. Shelves and stuff. Yada, yada, yada. Now, this is the space which will be the chair that I'm currently using. I'm still awaiting, not awaiting, I've not ordered anything. I need to get my own kind of like desk chair. The chair that I've currently got will be going here, and that's just going to be for the kids to clamber on and be able to chill out and do their own thing when they're in here with us. Currently, it's just the radiator, which we're hoping now that we're in spring. I'm hoping I'm not really going to need it again for the rest of the year. So it's done a fantastic job since I got it around Christmas time, and this is been so much cozier in here since that. So the Billy, this wasn't here. So we actually had 3 Billy bookcases on the other side of the room. One of them has moved to here. Currently, I said, look, you can have your 2 shelves at the top, do what you want. That's fine. I've got, Wi-Fi booster and little Hoover and stuff plugged in for now. And the bottom ones, it's a case of that one's the perfect size on purpose for my DVDs and a few little bits like that. And the bottom one, currently half filled with my strategy guides. I finally managed to get them down from the loft because I now have a place to actually put them stood upright. I have had to, fandangle things to make sure that they don't actually fall down, but it's how it is. I don't want them bending or curling or anything. So we've got some cool ones there. And then on to the TV. So this has moved from here to here. We've basically done a bit of a straight swap. So I've got the TV set up again. It doesn't quite swivel all the way so that the kids could watch it or anything, but I've got it all set up. I've got a little Now TV device so I can actually watch whatever I want. And I've got the 360 Mega Drive and my PS3 currently sat there. Everything's all plugged in, somewhat tidy behind there, somewhat tidy, and a few little loose things just under that little desk tidy type thing. My fan, because it's already been getting hot in here when I'm gaming, unfortunately. But yeah, I love that thing. I don't want to get rid of this thing. I was thinking about it the other day. I don't want to get rid of it because it is kind of the most nostalgic era for me for my gaming was when I was a young teenager. So we're talking around the 2005, 2010 period when I was that 15, 16-year-old teenager. And when I first got that 360, it's my first taste of real online play when I'm playing, COD Black Ops. I'm playing my Forzas and everything. Halo for the first time. That's the most nostalgic era for me in terms of gaming, and therefore this TV, which back in the day, I think it's 2006, 2007, was a pretty high-end TV, and it's still a fantastic little TV. It's still 1080p. I've got my HDMIs, I've got my RCA, I've got my component inputs, everything that I could possibly want for all this area-appropriate stuff. And going back to the 90s with, for example, the Mega Drive still looks way better on here. I know it's not CRT, but it's still way better on this thing than it is on the more modern TV in the house. So I'm really happy I've got this set up here. Kind of not fantastically in the corner, unfortunately. If I were to change something, it would unfortunately probably be this, so it fit in a little bit better, but it's okay for now. Side note, I did have a little go at just tinting these windows I'm going to need something that blocks some of that glare, some of that sunlight coming in on some of my games. I will not be taking up a new profession in window tint filming at all because I absolutely hate it. But a small difference you might have to tell there. That one's obviously clear and light, and this one's ever so slightly tinted. I think it is I'm not quite sure off the top of my head. I'll insert it here, but I don't know if it's a 35 or 45% tint. So they are applied. Moving to the upper shelves, I said to myself, right, I've got to fit everything in here, but I don't want to move this main shelf here. So a lot of heavy lifting, but it's also the perfect height for consoles, the perfect height for Davros, the perfect height for that Final Fantasy 13 Crystal Edition special pack thing. Perfect height for a 360, for a PS3, and that's just the air purifier that you sometimes need in here. But yeah, awesome. I'm not going to change that. Love it. Obviously, the order of things, that's all subject to change, unfortunately, but it is what it is. I had a little sort out this morning in the house in the cupboard, as well as currently keeping my Nintendo bits and pieces. Whilst I grew up playing the Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance, I'm not a huge Nintendo fanboy. But I did think, right, I've got the space now, I've slimmed things down a little bit, I'll put them out here, and I'll probably find a nice little place there. So we've got our OLED Switch, we've got our DSi XL, Game Boy SP, and a Nintendo DS Lite. Moving down, we've got a little bit of PS1 there. All the controllers, obviously, as I said earlier. I need to put the hooks back up on the wall somewhere so I can get some of these controllers put up. I've got my nice PS3 controllers. Very small PS4 collection, PS3 collection for the most part, all there. And then pretty much a shelf dedicated to Doctor Who for the moment, for the time being. That's all condensed down to one shelf for the most part. And then pretty much what kicked all this thing off, to get myself out of the kitchen, that meant I needed a desk in here. And without losing a load of stuff, and I really haven't, I had to fit this desk in, so it isn't a huge desk. I think it's just over 1 meter wide. It's only 50 centimeters deep, so it's not a huge space, you know, for your wrists and stuff when you're gaming, which is why I do need a desk chair so I can have those kind of like armrests up here. But yeah, that's kind of like my setup at the moment. So if you want to head over to Lapping with Purpose, that is currently a channel where I am playing through F1 2015 to F1 25, hopefully. Currently playing 2015 on Steam, got a microphone set up, all that kind of stuff. And then the Xbox One is already set up with the Elgato ready for 2016. So yeah, really looking forward to that. I've got a nice little space now. I might get like a few acoustic panels here and there, but for the most part, it's a better setup than the kitchen, and it's much more my own space. And look, these things come with like flimsy little cup holders these days, but hey, it actually does its job. It does work. I've got my PC down there. That little ups down thing does have RGB underneath, but I can't bother to put it on right now. But yeah, this was my wife's chair. At the moment, it's doing its job for what it is. It's comfortable enough, but that will be the chair that then goes in the corner over there. So then the kids can come in and sit down with some cushions or blanket, whatever, get comfy. And I'll be hopefully getting a desk chair for myself. Can't be too expensive. This is obviously all cost a fair chunk. I think the desk, to be fair, was like 60, which is pretty decent for a desk, really. And then, yeah, this thing's obviously like 80. This desk was pretty expensive, but it is a half decent L-shaped desk with lots of things going on. I think that was like 130. So yeah, this is all going to be made back again by me selling off a few bits and pieces here and there. Comes to the last Billy bookcase. So there was actually two of these side by side here, and obviously I had my recliner here previously. So I had to go, well, my wife needs a desk. She needs kind of like two separate areas on her desk. That's absolutely fine. No problem with that. How can I accommodate this? If I manage to move one of the Billies over there where the TV was, jiggle things around, fit in my desk here, which it does. Small gap there is absolutely fine. As you can tell, I've got plenty of room here. That isn't tight whatsoever. I've loads of room. So that's how I've managed to sort it out in my head, and it does thankfully work. Currently got Xbox One, slowly growing with some more F1 titles, that kind of thing. Tiny Nintendo Switch collection right in the corner there. And then 3 rows of, nearly 3 rows of 360s. A few DVDs that actually need to come out of that bottom shelf and need to go on the DVD shelf. But yeah, I think I've got some original Xbox down there in my 360 collection. So these were at the front. I was putting the games behind flat so I could put them these to the front. I thought, right, get rid of all the duplicates, get rid of any excess. Let's have some more stuff that I want to see, some more bangers up in here. So we have lost a few 360 things, a few 360 games. I've pushed them back. Whether I get all the controllers on the wall or whatever, or whether I do something like I've done here, Xbox One games, Xbox One controller, 360 games, 360 controller, and the same again there. I'm not sure yet. This is currently the, right, let's move this on pile. Some Harry Potter things the wife doesn't want anymore. This I came across a week or two ago at charity shop. I was like, that's cool. I've never seen this before. And I believe that's because they are actually NTSC American versions. So I'll see if I can move them on if anyone wants them. I guess it'd be a good idea for me to check to see if they do work on like a UK console, for example. The XS Doctor Who that I picked up a big bundle from recently, and a few 360 games that are kind of hiding. I've forgotten exactly where, but they were kind of hiding. I'm not sure if they're duplicates. I don't think Horizon is, or whether they actually don't work or not. So I need to test those and I'll move them on. But I don't know, pie in the sky, finger in the air. There is like a magic mouse here. I don't know if that works or if I'm going to be able to test it now. We haven't got a Mac or anything. But I don't know. It'd be nice if I get 50, 60 quid for this lot, possibly. Hopefully more than that. At least pay for the desk chair, for example. And then up to the top shelves. Obviously, Mr. Sheen takes pride of place on the shelf. Funny. I've got a few little trinkets and a few little bits and pieces. Obviously, it's all pushed together at the moment. This is just so I could put things. There's been so much stuff on the floor, moved around, just so I can get the main things in. It's probably not going to stay like this, but for the moment, obviously, our books have remained up here. We've got a few little nice pieces. Doctor Who, Portal 9/11, Star Wars Landspeeder, Borg Cube, that kind of stuff. We've got our Daleks, our incredibly rare Nintendo Switch Jigglypuff controller. Try finding one of those for sale. Good luck. Got our little tiny Mega Drive collection. Command & Conquer PC Big Box. Some more PC stuff. Pokemon games. Borg VHS collection. More Borg 7 and 9 kind of collections, whatever. But yeah, there she is. Apologies, it's not a fantastic games room tour, as it were, but this is kind of just the second part of. First part was here's a massive mess. Second part is it's less of a mess, and what I wanted to do, I've managed to do, thankfully. So by no means the finished article, but I think we've actually got a decent amount of space here now. You know, there's a nice big gap in the middle. It feels a lot more airy with me changing some things around. Yeah, I'm going to see what takes my fancy this year and just go from there. Working on that gaming channel, having a lot of fun doing that. I'm really happy. Everything's all plugged in. Cables, at least from here, look somewhat cable managed. That's because I've got a tray underneath that desk. So yeah, that's the point where I want to get to, is everything that I have in here is all kind of plugged in, but somehow tidy and cable managed, so that at any point, all I have to do is simply turn on the plug and it'll work. You know, when sometimes you want to play something, I really fancy playing a Mega Drive game for whatever reason. Oh, but it's not plugged in. Oh, where's that mains lead gone? Oh, I need to find the cables to plug it in. And bang, your enthusiasm for playing that game is now gone, because I can't be bothered with those 4 or 5 steps that I now have to do, especially if they're not like right there. So everything right now is plugged in. I want to play 360, yeah, go. I want to play PS3, PS2, PS1. It's all down there, baby, on that backwards compatible PS3. Let's go. The Switch, a little less so, but that's fine, we're getting there. I've got a fan for when I get hot, microphone's all set up, Xbox One's set up, PC's all set up. I can do what I want, when I want. It's all ready to be plug and play. Exactly how I want it, and that's exactly what I'm aiming for. So yeah, a few things to get. Desk chair for me, so hey, if you've got any suggestions, let me know down in the comments. So there you have it, you know. Let me know if you like it below. Don't let me know if you don't. I'm really happy with the room, the space that I'm working with here, this shared space. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to just fine-tuning now, doing a couple of things that I've just mentioned. So yeah, please like, comment, subscribe as always, and I hope to see you in the next video. So yeah, thank you for watching. Cheers.